Looks like we're on. It's the last of the bongs, and we're ready to go. You're here first, Sue. There isn't a prize. Hi, Viv. Great. Today, I thought I'd have a little look at some boxes, which are always fun. So I was going to call this special offer. That was the idea. Yeah, hopefully we should be able to have a bit of a fun play with this. Some different angles and shapes and colours and shadows and what have you. So that should be a good laugh. What I haven't managed to do in time, although I am somewhat better prepared this week, is clean my palette. So let's do that first. What fun! Yeah. So palette cleaning first. That's today's painting, and the one before taking up space. To get the worst of today's offenders off, and then it's time for a Stanley blade, just to do it properly. Oh, gooey. Right, that paint's done. Don't need that. Alright. Shouldn't have tried using a tissue. There's a reason I scrape this stuff off from the edge of the tissue box. Okay, don't need that either. Tissue box, there it is. Yum. Anything else need doing? So yellow ochre is starting to form a skin, so turn that upside down, get the gooey bit out. Come on. Put that back down there. Actually, I'm going to have to reposition this camera because it's mostly the back of my head. Also, while I'm setting up, it keeps switching itself off, so hopefully it won't keep doing that. We'll see, won't we? So it's something to look forward to. Another thing for me to lose my rag about. Yes, it's considerably less boiling this week, so hopefully I'll be able to keep my temper and maybe paint in a somewhat more relaxed way and hopefully get a better result. But I guess you don't know until you start, do you? So no guarantees there. Hope everyone else is enjoying it, having cooled down a little. Hopefully that'll be it until next year. Good riddance to summer. Alright. I have other tools. I don't know where they are. See if I can find a suitable palette scraper. There they are. I'll treat myself to a new Stanley blade this week. Really pushing the boat out. So yeah, this should be quite fun. I don't know what the difficulties are going to be yet. I think a lot of it is going to be in the colour and getting the sense of the shadows being even across the whole subject matter. Sorry, the subject matter my fat head is in the way of. Let's move this around a little bit. Hopefully you can still see it now. Okay, let's get this back to a grey palette so you can see what I'm mixing before the chaos ensues. I swear this was easier on the last one. I think maybe this piece of glass isn't quite as flat. Or maybe the support isn't as strong so it's bending. But yeah, we'll see about that. Come on. Yeah, you do. Right. So hopefully there's some sense of satisfaction of seeing this clean up. I know people watch videos of drives being power washed, so perhaps I've reached a par with that now. That's all I could ever hope for, really. I've got a treat for you today. My good friend Matt has got a new EP out on Bandcamp. I'm going to ask him to put up the link for it. I'll be playing that along with a time lapse which I've made, which I'd be interested in your opinion of, from the catch-up time lapse of a few weeks ago. So no, catch-up video. It wasn't a time lapse then, it was just a video, and you had to sit through 2 hours of it. Well, I've crammed it into 5 minutes, which is a far shorter period of time to be bored for. So hopefully that will appeal to everybody. Come on, all the little bits and pieces. Up you come. So yeah, so when I stop in the middle and go off and have a cup of tea, you'll be able to enjoy that. Right? Oh, Dora's here, Jason's here. Hi there. Bernice, I've not seen you before, but welcome. That's if she hasn't left already. People tend to come along for about 30 seconds at a time. Once they realise nothing's happening, or seems to be about to happen, then they leave again. Because people are very impatient. That goes for all of us, I think. There we are, raw umber. Let's have a bit of that. Be good for the shadows. Might need a bit more, we'll see. And some ultramarine. Which is my mixing blue of choice. Oh. If I can actually open that, that'd be good. Right, I'll be sitting back a bit once I start, so hopefully my fat head won't keep getting in the way, but we'll see. I'm sure you'll alert me to any issues with visibility. I'm trusting you on that one. Ultimately, it's your responsibility now. I can't be held responsible. Okay. Oh, I'm covered in blue already somehow. That was a great start. Right, I think I'm ready to go. I'm going to start with a bit of drawing. Drawing with this is going to be quite important. Calm. So I make a little thinned mix, mostly spirits, bit of pigment, just so I can see the lines. I paint over it all anyway. And I might have a big brush on the go as well, just for areas. I was just thinking earlier about lost edges, and there's definitely one here. No, this camera isn't in the right place, is it? I'm going to bring it a bit closer again. Got a delay, I have to wait a while. No, look at the other screen. That's it. Come on. That's pretty good. See most of it there. Now, is my head going to be in the way where I'm painting? Let's find out. No, should be okay. I'm going to end up here, but yeah. You'll get a little idea of what it's like for me to live inside this skull. If I close one eye, I can only see everything on one side. Otherwise my nose is in the way. My palette is obliterating my easel. I don't understand what that means. Hi Anna. Right. This is the palette here. Yeah, that seems to be okay. I think we can see everything all right. Oh yeah, I had a brown colour over there, and that's my filling in tonal one. So what I want to do, because this is, it's just some boxes. First of all, I might put this on its side. I know you won't be able to see the whole thing, but it's not all about you. Get over yourself. Okay. Back a bit more, maybe, just to be cheeky. Hang on, that's zooming? I'll go the other way. Oh well, oh right, that's as far as out. I want a little story, I want some gestural movements, I want a movement of the eye, because the individual angles and stuff are all very straightforward, but there's still the way the eye travels around, and that can be dynamic and interesting. So I'm going to be thinking about where my eye stops, but that little Bramflex box is like a little launch pad, it's quite fun. And it lifts up, and then we've got this big light area on the front of the cornflakes packet, and then we kind of settle down with the crunchy nuts, which are having a lie down. And so we can start to anthropomorphise this thing, but there's this sort of gesture that goes up like that, and I want that to be comfortable on the canvas, somewhere like this. And then it drops down, and then we have a lie down. Whatever, something like that. And so I'm getting an idea of how they fit together. So that box is going to go there somewhere, and this one's going to be up right here somewhere, and this one's going to be lying down here somewhere. And there's my boxes. Now I've got an idea roughly where they go. I can also look at sort of tonal areas. So if that's that and that's that, then the negative space is going to go in a bit like this. sort of thing. Yeah, so it's a proper obelisk, that cornflakes packet. It's like 2001, isn't it? Yeah, get some angles going down, so that's going to actually be down here. That's right. I'm trusting my eye here, which I probably shouldn't. Again, more negative space. There's that shadow area over there. Keep the edges rough. Oh yeah, lost edges. That shadow side of the bran flakes facing us is pretty much the same tone as the dark behind. So although I can see the difference, perhaps with the advantage of already looking through a camera, you can see that edge goes away a bit. Yeah, that's there. That's there. This is smaller than I thought. So that tone is roughly similar. That's going in there like that. Maybe it's a bit steeper, I don't know. If I look at that negative space, I jump down to this one, it's going to be about here. I've got this shadow going across. Got a shadow shape there, sort of thing. Is that right? No, that was just the shadow. It's steeper. How much steeper? Not much. Maybe it's about right. Extra bit of box sticking out. It's going to sort of travel down there. Yeah. Yeah, a bit of perspective. That's quite fun. Once I get some other lines and things showing up. Is this going to make any sense at all? Yeah, it is a bit, I think. Right. We start to see some shapes. I'm also seeing how some things line up. Should that go there? If that goes there, that's there. That's about 45 degrees. Is that right? A bit further than halfway along. So I'll do some little adjustments as I go, but it could be. Ooh, more thinners. So it is still pretty warm, it's evaporating quite quickly. Oh, ooh, no, that's not the shadow shape. That's there. I haven't done any height and width yet, but I could do that. If I take the overall width of the cornflakes box, compare it to the height, that's 1.5. 1.5. So if I divide that into 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I turn that into an overall square, 45 degrees-ish, about this. Maybe that's about where the side of it goes. It looks not too far off. Oh, that's all dribbled. That's some very interesting shapes there. I can start to see enough that I can, I think, get a bit of a grip on. Yeah, see that? I'm sure that box should be wider. a bit of a grip on what goes where. Oh. Yeah, maybe take a bit of this. Okay, yeah, I think I can kind of see that structure now. It took a little while, but I got there. Maybe that's narrower. Maybe that's a bit steeper. Something like that. Maybe this starts further over. Yeah, which would allow an extra bit on the side here. Okay. That's my drawing in pretty much. I've been trying to get involved with some forums and things based on old recommendations. People say, oh, you know, get on the internet and chat to people and, you know, offer some help and that kind of thing. There's a drawing group, which is people that put up some really nice stuff. And someone had put a very interesting question, or, you know, sort of little idea, saying, where does a drawing end and you know, a painting begin? What's the, you know, where is it difficult to say whether, like, if something's a drawing or a painting? And I thought that's a very interesting point, you know, because there's still drawing in a painting. And I was discussing this with someone, we were having a little chat, and this person pipes up, informing us all that drawing and painting were different things, and they had nothing in common. And clearly, we didn't paint or do art, otherwise we'd have known everything like they did, I guess. And I thought that sort of really sums up the whole problem with the internet, is that you can't have a normal discussion. It just sort of isn't allowed. There's always something noisy and extreme happening, that you can't just discuss things. It's made impossible. So yeah, so I didn't bother with that. Right. Oh, the rain's come. I'm not happy with this being all the way over there. It makes me uncomfortable. I dislike it. But maybe I'll leave it there because I'm lazy. I'm really, really torn about it, actually. Let's see, I'll do a bit more of this drawing in, put in some of that heavy shadow behind, a bit of light shadow in front of it. Just to see how it behaves. Right, that's a lot steeper. Come all the way up to there, so we'll wash that way. And this. it all a wipe. Get my tones in. How does that look? It's actually not all bad. No, that's okay. I'm quite happy with that. Oh, I just realised this can probably turn me around a little bit. That's better. So yeah, so you can see what I'm doing with it. What do we think? Funny thing is with this this sort of approach, I've primed this canvas with a oil-based primer, so it's not absorbing any of the oil at all, which makes it very slippery and runs about all over the place. But it does make it quite easy to move things around the surface and change my mind at the beginning, which I like. So I'm going to move the top edge of that. Yeah, what am I doing? It puts all the way up like this. See? My funny idea of what, no, yes, what I should be seeing is interfering. It never goes away, that thing. No. The brain has its own idea of what it expects to see, and it will override anything that's too difficult. Oh, I'm not happy about that. That is 45 degrees there, that's why. Really steep. And that shape is really shallow. There's a bit of a shadow. Yeah, so I can paint with light now, just using white spirit and a rag, which is quite liberating. But it does involve leaning over, so you probably keep seeing the back of my head. Apologies for that. Okay, now I'm getting some perspective. And it points over to here. Yeah, that's about right. That negative space in here is the main one. That will give me. Okay, so let's move the edge of that box there. Let's get that angle. That's about right. About that one, that's ever so slight. Okay. There's that shadow. There's that light area. Yeah, this is working. I don't know if you're on in time, Matt, but I did. I told everybody about the new EP you've done. If you've seen any of my time-lapse videos, the music in the background, in whatever, it's not really in the background, it's just, I don't know. The music that accompanies the images is my good friend Matt, who is an excellent kazoo player, and with that and a looper pedal you can do anything. Sound remarkably like a 6-string bass just by humming. It's amazing. Yeah, so he makes some really lovely sort of feely music. I don't know what you'd call it really, but it's sort of, the word ambient gets used or things like that, but it's really about, it's moods. Yeah. And it's been a great accompaniment to my time-lapse videos, and I've just done another one which I made from the catch-up video from a few weeks ago. Edited out all the mixing bits and what have you, and yeah, it should be interesting. I'd like to know what you think. But he's got another EP out. He releases one every, I think it's about every 36 hours. Releases a new EP of music. I'll be showing the video in the middle, but I haven't got around to putting titles on it saying who did the music, because clearly that stuff isn't very important to me. So I'm inviting Matt to tell us all about the Bandcamp site name thing, whatever, where you can have a go and have a listen to it and download it if you like it. If you fancy some James Budden time-lapse background music while you paint at home, it covers up the sound of most of the swearing, so that's good for that. But no, it's lovely, relaxing mood music, so I recommend it. What I don't have is the links and stuff, so I'm inviting him to put them up. Oh, that's sweet. Anna's been throwing pots to his music. That's another exciting thing. I'm going to throw my first pot tomorrow. Well, I mean, it might not end up being a pot. It might end up being lumps of clay splattered on the walls of Anna Stiles' pottery studio. But whatever it is, I'm going to do it for the first time tomorrow. It's quite exciting. So, as I have mentioned, I'm going to be massively disappointed if I'm not really good at it straight away. So that's the attitude with which I'm going into it. We'll see what actually transpires. It should be fun. There's the link. So don't click it now. You're watching this. It's not that important. You wait till afterwards. But when I go for a cup of tea, I will be showing that time lapse, and I'm going to make time lapses of the good videos I've done. So some will not make it to a time lapse, but these 2-hour evening sessions actually do compress quite nicely into little 5-minute time lapse videos. So if you just like seeing how the picture emerges, you can do it extra quick without having to sit through this nonsense, or listening to me talk. So lots of appealing reasons there. I'm going to let that evaporate, but I think we can see some tonal values there. Obviously this is going to get lighter, so this, I would make that darker, but there's no point because this is probably tonally about right. As is this. Well, he's not far off. As is this. They're all about the same tonally. It might be a bit darker, I'm not sure. Well, I'll find out, I guess. But this is definitely lighter, but I'm working off a grey, so that's got to go somewhere. If I wanted to be proper cheeky, I'll do it now just to demonstrate. Sometimes if I really need to see those tonal values, I'll chuck a bit of light on, which I don't recommend doing, because it puts a layer of paint down that you then have to sort of take into account when you're working over it. But yeah, gives you an idea of that tonal jump between here and here now. Hopefully you can see that. Right. Time for some mixing, isn't it? I reckon. I've got to let that spirit evaporate, but it won't take that long. So I have a palette knife here. I think I've got enough colours out as well. That would be unusual. Oh, I haven't got enough white. I'll definitely need more white. I may as well get it now. It's around here somewhere. Oh dear. There you go, I'll nick it off this palette. Hey, lovely. Right. I'm going to mix a light colour first. I'm going to put it over here. But I mean, when I say a light colour, I mean the colour of the light, which is slightly yellowy. Let's got a tiny bit of cadmium yellow in there, and that's way too much. So that's a good start, isn't it? No, let's leave. Oof, no, I'm going to get away with that. Let's mix some white with half of that. That's the light colour. Yeah. It'll give a very green, slightly green tint to the blue of the brown flakes where it's in the light, but less so in the shadow, which should make an interesting colour shift. So that's something to look forward to. I can tell you're all terribly excited about that. Right. I'm going to mix the actual colour of the light. It's the hue, not the tone. But obviously it's very, very light. I'm going to put it over here. There you are. It's in that orange spectrum. I'm not going to need very much of that. I'm going to mix a grey, which represents a lack of it, or the shadow colour, which is sort of the ambient colour. I'm going to pop that over here. And that is sort of, I'm going to get a bit of raw umber there. Where I can see this colour. So, you know, if it's a shadow colour, it should look pretty much black. But I've got the glass and the grey underneath, which can help see what colour you're mixing. Put a bit of red in it there. The raw umber is basically like dark yellow. Is that still greeny? Just as a test, I'll mix it with a bit of white over here. No, that's very, very neutral. A bit more red in that. Yeah, chuck it all in. What the hell? What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, still pretty neutral. But a little bit browny. A bit bluer actually. I think I overdid it with the raw umber at the beginning. That'll do, that's my shadow colour. Oh, and then we've got that background colour as well. Yeah, it's definitely on the darker side. I'm thinking of the side of the box here. Okay, that's those. That gives me an idea of where I'm going with it. Okay, big lump of blue. I may as well put them on the palette in the order that they're going to go up here. So I'm ignoring the idea of a tonal change here, I'm just going to make the local colours. This blue is going to be much too purple as it is off the palette. So you can see already how much greener it's going to need to become. Yeah, that's about the highest chroma blue I can make. So that's just ultramarine and white with enough white added to bring the colour out. So let's do a little experiment and see if we can mix the brown flake box colour. I'm going to put some cadmium yellow in, keep it clean to begin with. Because that's going to be much too green. to be a bit lighter as well. A bit more blue in it. How's that looking? Needs to be lighter. I have to use a bit of Iridian in here. There. Ooh. So we can get any out. There we are. A little bit. It's actually tallow-cyanin green. I've been winning myself off Iridian because it's horribly expensive, and you can reproduce the same colour in many different ways. Now this, if I put it against the canvas, I'm starting to think, okay, that's the right colour, but it's nowhere near as light as that. Look how much darker it is. So that's giving me an idea of it being the right tone. It's probably about right for in there, but I think that needs to be a bit more purple. So yeah, let's just mix some more of this up. A bit more blue in there. A bit more. I'll keep calling it Iridian because I just think of it in that terms of that colour at the moment. Greener. Very clean green. Ultramarine doesn't mix a good green. When just by adding yellow to it, it tends to be a bit muddy, which is good for most situations actually, but printed packaging. No, it still needs to be greener. Mad. Slowly finding my way into this. It's a long journey to pinpoint that local colour, and the local colour is just where it is on the colour wheel. The lightness and darkness and intensity will all come later. So to begin with, I just need to know. Yeah, I reckon that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave some of it over there. Some of it I'm going to add some white to until it's light enough. Add a bit of this light to it as well, which like I said will green it up ever so slightly. A bit of extra blue, a bit of extra green. Okay, that'll do for starters. It feels weird having my blue mixes on that side of the palette, but there's a different order going on here. The local colour of the crunchy nuts, it's quite orangey. That's some yellow ochre. That's some red in it. That's way too much red in it. That's the red being put back. Ta-da! Okay. And a bit of cadmium yellow. I say a bit, a whole lump of it. That's quite strong. Oh, God, I'm covered in this blue again. How did that happen? Ugh. What a mess. Where was I? Oh yeah. Bit more orange. I'd say that's pretty good. That's probably too orange. Yeah, that's too orange. Needs a bit of white in there. But again, you know, some of this light colour. How's that looking? It's a bit better. A bit more cadmium yellow and a bit more white. How's that? Ooh, nice. Quite happy with that. That's my second local colour. Haven't done anything with lights or darks on it yet. Yeah, that dark, it's almost sort of a greeny colour. Let's give it a try, just see how it looks. Let's put some of the dark colour in. Let's mix it up. Is that too dark? Yeah, it sort of looks greeny, doesn't it? Might have to add a little bit of red to that, but it's actually not far off. If you look at that jump from that colour to that colour, it's pretty much what I'm seeing there. Looking forward to putting that on. Should be fun. Oh, I am warm again. It's my shadow. The light can come later. That red is interesting. Oh, especially against the blue. That's a little brain melter, isn't it? Never really realised that. Get some of this red. It's just cadmium red. Nice and bright. I'm going to darken it very slightly. See how it looks. I don't know how well that's going to behave itself. I think it needs a bit of white in it. A little bit. It's quite a strong colour, so I can put a fair lump of white in there without losing it completely. Let's just mix all of that in. There's a little bit of dark in there as well. Yeah, I've always got the option to go a little bit brighter if I need it. And that's all my basic local colours, I think, other than the depictions of the breakfasts that will never exist on the front of the packet. I love the way it says serving suggestion on the cornflakes as well, when they're just in a bowl. I mean, it's not much of a suggestion. Can't help thinking they didn't try particularly hard with that. At least with brown flakes, they've had to go to some lengths to make them appealing. By saying, hey, you can have blueberries and bananas with them, because you know how we normally have blueberries and bananas with milk. Why not chuck a few brown flakes in there too? Super. I haven't done the background colour. And I'm almost out of palette as well. This is mad, isn't it? Really. Again, I'm talking about lost edges. I was thinking of this shadow colour. The background tone is pretty similar. It's a bit green, but I'm going to... I don't want to make it too green. I'll use a bit of the raw umberness, which I quite like. I'll put some light in it right from the off. It's easy to do a darker one. And even then it looks a bit muddy. I don't know how much I want to warm it up. Put a bit of blue in there. And just warm it up until it's neutral. I don't want it to go orangey. Okay, that's definitely a dark version. It needs to be at least as light as that. Let's chuck some white in there. Oh, I love how that did almost nothing. Yeah, totally similar. Yeah, I like that pinkiness. It lets the red travel across a little bit, and then there's some shadow colour as well, which again just have a bit of red in it. Oh. Yeah, so for the corner, which doesn't really going to show up, but actually no, it does here, and then it changes, doesn't it? Yeah, and the deep shadow behind. That'll do for that. Super. So how are we doing then? Facebook isn't very good at translating what I'm saying. I think you have to talk like that. But it translated the American accent perfectly. There you go. Hey guys! Yeah, that's not going to happen. I did come up with a few ideas for doing little promo bits within the videos where, you know, stuff pops up to remind people, YouTube to subscribe and like and things like that. And then after some long period of laughter, realised I couldn't actually put any of them out there without possibly being banned from ever broadcasting a video again in my life. So I will come up with a few things. I thought it might be nice to have an intro at the beginning. I always quite like the This Morning intro, because clearly they thought, oh my god, we've got like a 4-hour show to do and it starts at 6 AM. Let's make a 20-minute theme tune and we can just play that. And yeah, I always rather enjoyed that. Steve Wright on the radio had a similar thing. It just went on and on and on. Clearly, you know, you got an extra coffee break out of that. How am I doing for time? Usually I hear the bongs. There have been no bongs. Nearly an hour in. Should I chuck some colours on? I'm going to chuck some colours on. Big brush. Chuck some colours on. And then come back and work into it. So how are we doing? Oh, all the part-timers have left, it's just us now. Right. I'll do the darks first. I've put some oil in that just to help it spread a little bit. There's a tiny bit of thinners left on the brush. I can add a bit more. So I don't know if you can see this little trick I like to do when I want to control exactly how much thinners to add. I use a smaller brush and just dribble it down the sides. There you are. So I don't mind the background turning into a dead layer. That's too. No, I'm changing a bit of artistic license with the background. That'll come up to about there. This goes up to about here. And that dark comes away. Also down here a little bit. Okay. I'll add some lighting just for these bits. It's got a lot lighter already. Okay. There you are. Nice and rough. Nothing too fiddly. Yeah, a little bit at the bottom there. It's a bit darker. Round about that edge. And borrow a bit of that grey. Pop it in there. Tiny dab of thinners. Another dab of oil. Just do it all with the brush mix. Okay. It's mad because it looks really light on the grey, but it's still considerably darker than the blue, which is about to go on. Get that angle right, you idiot. What am I thinking? Ugh. No, it's steeper than that. It's there. Maybe it was right the first time. Okay, not I've got to be prepared to break those edges because this all might move around. Don't want to be too fussy or spend too long trying to do these edges perfect as if all my drawing is correct, because it just won't be. Something's going to have to change somewhere along the line, so I may as well be loose about the whole thing. Yeah, nice sort of hard edge on the top of that shadow. That kind of makes sense. Let's mix it all in. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. Oh, I didn't do a foreground colour. Maybe I'll just make all this bluer. It should still be darker than this, I think. Pop a bit of red in it. A bit bluer. See how that behaves. Not too purple. Probably. That's way too dark. What's that here? Yeah, too dark. Is it still nice in that? No, that needs to be darker. Pop a bit of what's left in here in. There's the bongs. There's my good old reliable bongs. There we go. And while that was lighter, I should have used it. So this bit here. Okay. I've got any of this horribly wrong, which I probably have. It should be at least as light as that, which is right. And lighter than this, which I think is also right. If I put the lights in now. might come back and change this colour a bit later on, but for the moment this will kind of do the job. Let's work against that edge a bit. Move it around a bit. There we go. Okay, it's a bit yellower at the front. And let it have a bit of that yellow. As soon as it asks for it, nicely. And here, a bit more white, a bit more yellow. Oranginess. There you are. Well, these shadows seem to make sense. They seem to be fairly coherent with the tonal relationships, with the amount of light falling on different parts of the image. Which means that shadow's got to be about the same. So that was completely misjudged. Let's see if that works. No, that's too light, you see. It's really subtle, this. Really subtle business. What about that? No, it was right all along. What an idiot. There was more red in it though. Should have trusted myself. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to take all of this away. Bit grayer, a bit more blue, a bit more amber. There you are. So it's still quite a bit lighter than this shadow, but that shadow gets darker at the back there. That's closer to what I wanted. Tonally it should be the same as that. It's definitely got too light. The darker red in there. See what that does. What about this? They are tonally similar. Still not enough. Yeah, put the colour of the brown flakes right in. I do like the wide barcodes. Seems to get darker as it goes up to the top, which is odd, but that's what it does, that's what it does. So now there's already light on there, so I can mix an even darker colour and just mix it in on the surface as it goes in. Should be slightly purpley at the top, and it's a bit browner in the middle. There we go. Great. Yeah, I'll do this lighter version on the top because there is a lighter shape on the top. I need a smaller brush soon. In the meantime, I can make do with the biggest one I own. Hope that does its job. That's going to have to go up. Oh yeah, more shadows down here. That's it. boxing shadow. Some of those lights. Shadow comes across. Lovely. Should we pick up some of that light? Put that in. That's my light colour. That's my box colour. Let's see what sort of a job that does. Yeah, that's suitably bright, isn't it? I'm going to keep it thin, because I can come back into it afterwards when I have a brush that actually holds its shape and a proper decent quantity of paint. But for the moment I can start to see that contrast and whether it works. Scrubbing a few of the big shapes. There's some yellow snuck in there. I don't care. I'm not going to even worry about that. Da, da, da. There we go. That'll do for that. Right, I definitely need a better shaped brush now. I'm going to start putting some other colours in. Hello, Morgans. Right. But hopefully you can see how I'm trying to manage the tonal changes across the image. So there we go. Bit of oil, tiny bit of thinness, tiny bit. Part of the reason the brush loses its shape is because of just not having enough paint on it, or it being a terrible brush like this one. When I say terrible, I mean it's a well-made brush that has been very badly cared for. One careless owner. Does that work? It does rather. I think it could actually be a bit stronger. Let's try a slightly stronger colour, shall we? Only slight. It's a little difference, but it is a difference. And again, another brush hunt, I think. What about this one? Is this going to work? Yes, that's much better. Okay, oh, I like that edge, that's quite fun. I don't want to get too caught up in edges too soon. And again, this is fairly flat paint. That angle is the trickiest one of the whole painting. I have got it right though. But definitely needs checking and double checking. My brain keeps telling me it's wrong. So turn it into a bit of work. Now, oh, this is interesting. This is this light reflected, but it's also darker. Very peculiar. It's a very strange shape. It's just a little stripe, really. Hopefully that's done that. Let's go into that darker colour, see if it does its job. Is it too strong? It is a bit too strong. It needs to be a bit browner. Oh, and then redder. How's that behaving itself? That's better. Yeah, there's more colour coming out near the bottom. There's sort of almost like a reflected shadow there. It's darker at the top. He's got a ball. Well done. Wearing it as a hat. Peculiar animal. We interrupt this program. Go on, put it on your head again, idiot. There we are. That's a cat trying to wear a tennis ball as a hat. You'd enjoy that little intermission, just like in the old days. You know, you used to have the potter's wheel, the kitten playing with the ball of wool. You remember, of course you do. Obviously I don't, but I've heard all about it, so I join in the nostalgia, even though I'm about 20 years out of date. Okay. Getting into the lighter one again here. Yeah, with extra colour. I'll do the details in afterwards. I'm not going to worry too much about them now. No, what was I thinking? That's much steeper. Have I still got the other colour in the brush, that background colour? It should still be loose enough. Early time to have a nice cup of tea. That, it's deeper. It points downwards. It needs to be darker as well. Oh, I've had a pig's ear of that, haven't I? No, it's pretty much the same. Pretty much works. No, it doesn't. It does need to be darker. There we go. So that is the lost edge right there. You can't really see where one bit ends and another begins. Right. Back to the lights. Ah, I managed to touch the yellow. That was a mistake. He says not cleaning his brush or fixing it in any way. Oh. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the cat display. That was a little highlight, wasn't it? If you want to do well on the internet, get a cat. I mean, it hasn't worked for me, but apparently it does for other people. Yeah, is that enough of those? Definitely a sense of it being a box now, which is quite good. I like that. This shadow colour for the oranges. It was for here, wasn't it? Yes. I'm going to put that in first. It looks like quite a bright colour going on. But we will see any moment that it isn't really. Alright. No, maybe it is a bit higher up. There you are. Just scrub it in. Fine. Now, there's one which is halfway in between the two. And if I can get that jump right, this should be about it. No, that end bit has to get darker. This is probably about right for the side. That's where that shadow comes down to. That's much steeper. See, trying to fix my drawing now. Is it too late? Maybe a bit. No, it's never too late. Shadow colour. Let's pop it in here. It's proper dark in there. Again. I'll just chuck something in there in the meantime. Great. Just want to put this light bit on, see if it works. Yeah. So I enjoy that intensity of colour, that is quite fun. probably too orange. It's definitely too orange. Yellow that up a bit. No, it's just much too intense. Let's grey it a bit. Extra light. Okay, maybe somewhere in between these two, there's the right tone. That's quite fun, isn't it? Let's use a little bit of that. Be a lighter, creamier version. White. A little bit of red and blue in there. Smashing. What about the brown flakes? A bit greener. Some of those. What's going on in here? A few lights in there. There we go. We'll come back and put the browns on afterwards. Hopefully 5 minutes will be enough time for this to get a little bit, paint to get a bit sticky and, you know, accept another layer. Hey. Well, that's good. I can't believe I'm so covered in paint. Now, it gives me great pleasure to give you the premiere of the time lapse I made. Oh, something. Of the catch up from a few weeks ago. Compressed into about 5 minutes with music from Matthew White. You can find him on Bandcamp, Skinflower Music. So here we go. quick cup of tea. I hope that worked. Hi Vicky. Hi Leon. Hi Renata. Sorry, I missed her. Haven't been looking properly. I don't know when that intermission finished, or even if it worked, but let's hope that it did. But yeah, you may have heard that tonight is shouting night. It's an old tradition. It goes back to pagan times, I think, where the young people of the town go out and they have to shout, but they're not allowed to use consonants. It's quite exciting, and it's every Monday as far as I can tell. But oh, I'm seeing things wrong with this now. Yeah, I reckon I'll get away with it. I'm going to have a quick look at YouTube and see if anybody's watching and if anyone's left a comment. I very much doubt it. So I haven't really launched the live stream yet, but I have figured out that it has been a year of doing these. If you go right back to the beginning, you can see how they haven't really got much better at all. But they have improved a little, so that's encouraging. Hey, here we are. Go away. Hey. Hi Greg. Wisconsin. Yes, I do use Winsor & Newton paint, Greg. I also use Jackson's, which is Jackson's is a fantastic art supplier in London, who also make their own paint. My favourite, it depends on the colour, but certain colours, like for the white, I really like to use Michael Harding's number 2 with a safflower oil. I like the way it handles, and it's got an absurd amount of pigment in it, which is sometimes actually a problem. You put, I just dab a bit of white in this and just the whole thing's bleached out. So yeah, but thank you for asking. Yeah, Winsor & Newton paint is well known as a British brand of paint, which is made in France. I think an awful lot of paint is made in France, simply because, 150 years ago they started putting it in tubes, and that's how that works. Before then, people would just buy pigment and they'd either have someone mix it for them, usually some poor intern breathing in all the poisonous dust, or some permanent studio assistant who would be replaced when they inevitably became horribly ill. So thankfully now it's all in tubes. It's done for us in a safe industrial space. I'll put a few of those colours in. So this last bit I'm going to do quite freely. I'm going to be quite relaxed about it. I'll mix some of that green colour. I'll start off with the purest green I can make, which is horribly bright, much too strong. Cadmium yellow, that'll calm it down. And then I'll soften that back as much as I need to. A bit of raw umber. That will help. Could be a bit yellower. Raw umber is like a dark yellow though, so that will shift it slightly. Yeah, that works pretty well. And I'm just trying to get the general, what would you call it? The gist, I guess, of what the image looks like, and hope that takes care of everything in terms of, you know, prompting an idea of what it is we're looking at. That needs to be quite a bit darker. Maybe that. No, that's right. It does need to be darker. Also, it's mixing in with the colour on the surface, so I'm going to be doing a bit of removal of paint if I need to. Any other greens? No, that'll do for them. No, it won't do for them. There's a few other little gestures. But that's alright, it's about halfway up. A sort of dashed line down the middle. They've all got a balance around that. Oh, it won't look right. The little advertising boasts about what a great sustainable box ticking company they are. So we can eat our breakfast and feel better about ourselves at the same time. A privilege. I'm becoming very cynical. Some would say I was already cynical, but I don't know. I think it's getting worse. I'm going to try and keep a lid on that. Okay, what about some of these darker blues? Let's mix something up. Now again, this is going to mix up with what's on the surface. Even say that's too much. That's more like it. Now the symmetry of this is going to really help with the idea of the shape of the box. With those sort of square forms. Yeah, at the moment it's behaving itself. When I'm looking at sort of lists or graphics like this, it can easily sort of wander off and then like a sign writer who isn't paying attention to where the edge of the board is. End up running out of room. Oh, that's okay. What else? Let's pop a bit of that in here, shall we? Just a little bit. Ooh, fun. What else? What else can I look for? Quite happy to just dance around the image trying to pick stuff out. There's some of that orange I made earlier. I'm going to put it in this dark here. And there's a nice bit of detail there. That's not dark enough. So tonally this is actually quite confusing, this image. There we are. What about this? How does this do? That's good. Probably too much of an angle, but whatever. Okay, now that's softened down a bit. Let's pop a bit of that in. A bit of a shadow there. Work it in a bit to the surface. There you go. Where else have we got that? Oh yes, that was it. So inside the cornflakes a bit. See these shapes, just general shapes. A bit redder. Just at the top. Okay, what about in the brown flakes? Yeah, a few in there as well. Okay, definitely a few bits in here. Actually, the light bits in there. There's a bit more orange. You still got that music playing in your head? Go and buy it then. Yeah, I think it's nearly the time when they pick the champion shouter who gets to shout for the rest of the evening and lead the shouting when the tradition continues next week. Hi Francis. That's good. I think I'm greeting people far too late. I think they've already left by the time I get around to greeting them. Okay. Now, here's where I might need to get the colour shaper out. Oh, batteries. Well, let's see how this works. I've got this middle one, which is sort of half dark, which goes on the side of here. I'm just looking at that shape. It goes there, there. Oh, that works. No, not so much there. To just keep loading the brush. I think if I do that, it should be alright. Around this corner here, let's see how that works. It's very hard with that greeny blue and the red to see if to see if what was I saying? Yeah, if the red or the blue is darker. So here it's mixing on the surface, and I really don't want it to. I did leave a few bits clean. Hey, cheeky. Right, let's do a bit more of a bright one. I keep forgetting why there's a cockerel on the front of the cornflakes packet, and then I remember that other people eat breakfast in the mornings. Which I guess makes sense. Okay. So branding wise, this is quite recognisable. I don't want to I want this to be a painting, I don't want it to be a sort of a piece of sign writing, which is the temptation. Like I said earlier, when I put that little wash of white in, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go in some proper thicker paint and try and get it to behave itself. Another way to go about this, which I may well employ any moment, is to just not start on one side and go to the other as if I'm writing. I can say, well, okay, at that point there's like a loop that comes down. And it finishes up about here. And then there's like this shape at the top of here. And then there's that shape there. It's sort of similar. A little bit there. This is a bit lower down. There's an extra bit of space. It's a bit more vertical. There's this here. But I don't want to write it like it's a word. I want to paint it like it's a picture. So I'm thinking about whereabouts within the space that goes. Talking about the sign writer who ran out of room, it does look a bit like that's what's happened with the cornflakes packet. There you are. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty recognisable, isn't it? Let me get a smaller brush out and then load it up with some of that light colour. It's actually also slightly pinky. Oh, that's way too much. Idiot. I'm such an idiot. Okay. Chuck a whole load of white in that and see if it actually, that looks pretty close to what I want. Hey. Yeah, it's not a shouting championship, Matt. It's just a shouting tradition. There's no winners. I guarantee you, absolutely nobody wins. Especially not me. Certainly not the people that live right next door to the pub. Poor dears. I think they're mostly pensioners who've got sold a flat that they viewed at 9:30 in the morning. I don't really mind it. I think it's quite fun. It's the revving of engines that annoys me. So at least people sounding like they're having fun. is the sound of joy. But the sound of someone having taken the silencer off their Ford Fiesta, it doesn't sound like joy to me, but that's, yeah, maybe that's just me. Maybe there's something I'm not getting. There we go. So yeah, a few negative spaces now. And this should start to behave itself a bit, he says. Oh, that was ugly. That was an ugly mark. There we go. Keep saying that, don't I? I've still got this red on the brush though. And that's a bit high. As is that. That's suitably low. That's a bit fatter there. Hey! Yeah, it's a bit of fun now. A few hard edges at the top. Hopefully this is making a bit more sense now. Yeah, weirdly this is a long one tonight. I thought this would be a quick one. I know how you will like it to be over early, but you know, sometimes you just got to lump it, haven't you? Can't always get what you want. Okay. Even with the directions of the brush marks, I can kind of re-establish areas. And bright. So this corner up here, I want that to be a bit brighter. See, try doing two marks when one would have done. Ruined the first one with the second one. Down here. That's some sort of advertising thing. What are they trying to get you to do? Sea Life Centre, there you go. Yeah, healthy is part of a balanced museum going experience. It's not all fish. Oh. Right. Top half there, one mark breaks into a shadow at the bottom. Okay, that's lazy. Sort of hurrying now, but I don't want to take too long. That's last lot of orders at the bar, ladies and gentlemen, please. more cornflakes. Oh, sort of a middling colour there. Inside the edge of the bowl. That's quite nice. Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah. There you are. That purple colour. What do I do about that? I'll just paint it as it is. Right. I feel with this too much. There's probably enough of that. Something's free, no one cares what. This is grown-ups go free. That's an interesting concept. It's quite new as well. I mean, how the kids are going to get the money to go in, I don't know, but it's nice to know we can go without them, isn't it? Probably a much more enjoyable trip. Might take them up on that. Especially if you can lose them at the beginning of the trip, they'll probably cry, be collected by a security guard, and then your visit will be augmented by hearing over the intercom at regular intervals. Could so and so please come and pick up the lost child? Go around the whole place. Watching fish float around a tank, knowing your children are safe in the care of professionals in a creche somewhere in the Sea Life Centre. You can pick them up in about 4 hours when you've finished. And you got in for nothing. I don't think that advert's aimed at me. This is really tricky, this writing. I have to forget that it's writing. It doesn't matter that it's writing. What matters is that it's distances, areas of paint. directions. So yeah, I'll skip around to a different bit. Is that right? No, that's not right. That comes all the way over. That goes in that direction. Points it here. That goes in that direction. Whoa, that was a tricky one. That really was. That was a bit of intense concentration right there. Oh, there we go. There's another colour for that stripe down here. Let's do it in one go. He says do it in one go. Paint keeps coming off the brush, which it does. Good. Fantastic. Back to that bright colour one more time. Let me get a little bit of oil in that. Let's do it on the front of the brown flakes. Then we've just got, we just have to label our cereals. And so we know which one's which. A few other little gestural marks. Okay, thank you. Looking around, it's not there. There we are. Right, let's see how well this works. Okay, we're going to have to put a bit of white in this, just for coverage. Whenever it mixes with that blue, it's sort of giving us this darker colour. I don't have to do too much detail here, I need to relax with it a bit. That. In that. Make a bit of a space there. Yeah, that's good. A little brush, get some of that blue back. The gaps. That'll do it. Let's do a few of those blueberries as well while we're at it. Cracking. I might do a bit of a bit of barcode. There we go. It's just been it's quite interesting, isn't it? Actually, there's more lights in here. Let it get lighter and bluer. It's certainly like a bright reflecting edge. Yeah, greener too. Needs a bit more intensity of colour in there. Certainly that clash against the red is really really important. I'll get some of that white in afterwards for the writing, but I think I've done most of the work there. It's still too purple. It's even greener than it is. Bottom edge there. And up here. I'm probably being overly fussy. Sometimes when you see something you can't really ignore it. Okay. More of that light in here. This is closer to the light, so it's even brighter than the white of the cornflakes packet. And we've got a few little dashes of white as and when they pop up on here. Again, I'm really trying to concentrate on just painting, not on describing what it is I'm seeing, which is, I know it's a bowl, but it's at a funny angle, and it's a bit distorted and all the rest of it. Dab of oil there, just to make it sit up on the surface. And again, I'm starting at the beginning of the word, which I really shouldn't be doing. That word needs to finish over here somewhere. It's got vertical in the middle, and everything else can just sort of fit in around. There. Ben false. That's what that seems to say. Okay, I disappeared a bit there, didn't I? Wandered off into my own little world. It's nice here. Okay, let's make a light version of that. These edges are an important part of how these boxes read. The way the cardboard curves at the edge gives it this extra light. Band. Probably enough of that. I'll lighten it into that corner a bit. That would be fun. What else? Some blacks. Let's mix the darkest black for the shadow bits. So as dark as that can go. That'll certainly work for this. Haven't done the dark red there either, have I? Or the barcode, or the shadow underneath. So that's a little bit lighter. A bit bluer maybe. And do the bits on the front. I'll do that darker red now while I'm remembering it. Did the cornflakes logo in the wrong place, didn't I? Maybe too big or too small. Maybe I could leave it there and see if someone spots it. Maybe one day a designer from Kellogg's will turn up in my studio and go, "I think you found it on the logo in the wrong place." I can dream. Right. Yes, okay, not that. You do it. I believe in you. How are we doing for time? We're up to 2 hours yet. It's already mixed in enough, isn't it? That goes there. This isn't ideal. I've done my chicken's head too big. I'll have to fix that later. There you are, cornflakey though, isn't it? Do a bit of dark in there. Just a bit of shadow in there. That shadow hits. Just the crunchy nuts to go. Never really paid attention to the Crunchy Nut Cornflakes logo before, and frankly I've run out of patience to do it now, so I'll have to wait for another day. And again, like I said, this is really tricky. Got to really see what shape that is and where it goes. The end points in that direction, and it leads towards that L. Really subtle, but there. Oh, I've got sort of a pale pinky colour, which is the colour of the bowl. Maybe it's a little bit lighter. Maybe that's too much. I wonder if I'll get away with that. Not quite. It travels around. There we go. See, again, I've done it again. I've stopped looking at what's really there and I've started to draw what I think I see. Last few bits. There's some greens along here. And there's some more blacks in here. That's just, you can't make any sense of that. Keep putting that dreadful logo on everything. I'm sure it's a very good logo, just it's a lot of effort to paint. I think that's probably enough, he says, before he does all the extra bits that need doing. Okay, some little highlight bits. There are some extra lights. An extra light of the top of the box. Went a bit wonky. Doesn't matter. Not really. Okay. A bit of light on that. Okay. There's a few reds up there as well. And on here. Nice. That's the same as that. That all matches up. What else do I have? I was going to shrink my chicken, wasn't I? Shrink that chicken. I have to clear the space first. Oh, crikey, that's a mess. Is that it? Do I need any more? These shady banana shapes. That's quite fun. It's quite fun to try and get everything in. I think that's there. I'll tell you what I can do as well, is I can lighten up that foreground. Hello, Morgan. You come to do another show? For those of you that like cats but aren't particularly fond of painting, you really missed out tonight. He did a proper display of his, what would you call that? Tennis ball juggling, I guess, or something like that. I don't know, you'd have to ask him. Let's brighten that up at the front. Soften that shadow down a bit. That's too much. You can tell it's the end because I'm using my fingers. Oh, there we are. I'll light this up in the corner as well, because that's where the light's coming from. Once that's worked in, that should be quite effective. Yeah, just scumble it. Ta-da! Right, well that's got to be signed in red, isn't it? Kellogg's red. This is the bit where I think I've stopped and I realise I've missed something really important. But that was quite fun. So yeah, for those who missed it before, oh, squeaky. There he is. Go on, carry on. You've got an audience now. No, it's not performing for anybody. There we are. So yeah, so that was quite fun. I did enjoy the shapes. I did quite like trying to get the sense of a light source and consistent light with the different colours. Yeah, I should say thank you very much to Kellogg's for all the free cereal you're going to send me. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? There we are. Yeah, let's get that centered up. Yeah. That is special offer, 2020. So yeah, this will be for sale as well if anyone's interested. I don't know what I'd ask for that. 1,000, 2,000, maybe £250. We'll see. I'll make my mind up. In the meantime, ooh, hang on, no, you still can't see me. I have to crouch like this so you can see me. Thanks very much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And next week we'll do another. Who knows what it will be. That might be the last of the brands theme for a while. But who knows, I might think of something else which I think stands out. But yeah, I'm fairly pleased with that. I wish I'd made this brighter. Maybe I will yet. But in the meantime, I think it works all right. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me and for being so patient. And I hope to see you next time. And oh yeah, don't forget Matt's music is available to download, and I will be posting the time lapse once I've done the little titles and things. So watch out for that if you fancy seeing it again. But it's not up yet, so it's an exclusive. First chance to hear it, see it, and hear it. Here tonight. Oh. As it gradually cools down, I'll return closer and closer to being a human being. But yeah, in the meantime, good night everyone. Thanks for coming.